So I watched Reservation Dogs, and here is what I thought. So I had been interested in watching this show ever since I saw the trailer for it. I've never really seen a show where the majority of the cast were Indigenous people. So I was like, I definitely want to give this a try and try something I've never really watched before, try something new, and it looks really interesting. I didn't even really know too much about the show either, but I definitely wanted to give it a watch. So basically the show follows a group of friends, and they are trying to save up enough money to leave home and go to California. They don't want to be stuck where they are, and they think California is the place to go. So that's basically what the show's about. You're seeing this group of friends, focuses on the main 4 teens, and they're really trying to find a way out of where they are right now into kind of a bigger, better place, which they envisioning California. So yeah, that is a general synopsis, very, very basic view of the show. So if that interests you, following just the lives of 4 Disney teenagers, definitely go check this TV show out if you haven't already. If you don't care about spoilers, then continue on listening, but just want to warn you, we will be getting into spoilers now. I also want to mention that there are some deep things that happen in this show as well. So if you just want to double check and look up things just in case, if you're not sure if this is a show that you can handle, please look into a bit more if you feel like something you're interested in. It's definitely more on the comedy side in my opinion, but there are some things in the season that if you're just not comfortable with watching or being talked about, definitely look closer into the show. Okay, so like I said, this show follows a group of teens trying to make their way to California, and from the beginning of the show, they keep mentioning someone named Daniel, and that they're kind of doing this and want to do it for him since he didn't really get a chance to get out. So what we know about Daniel is that he isn't there anymore. We later learn that he died, and they're all still grieving the loss of their friend. So in the very beginning, we don't know how he died, and all we really know is that he isn't there anymore. And then they keep saying that like he didn't really get to make it out. We need to do this for Daniel. That keeps making it apparent throughout the first season of this show. Something else that they're dealing with is like kind of like a group of bullies. They're kind of the group in the town, but then another group of teenagers comes in, and they're kind of like trying to mark their spot, saying, "Hey, we're the new kids in town. We're gonna like kind of take over." So they kind of have these bullies, or they're rivals or something in the show. So they also have that they're dealing with. But throughout the episodes, we see each of their lives, and we get a better look into what each of them is going through and into their home lives. And also throughout the show, we do begin to see some tension throughout the group. Some of them are taking the journey and the trip and preparing for California more seriously, and some of them aren't. Some of them aren't taking it seriously, and it's definitely brings a divide within the group. Sometimes it's noticeable to all of them, sometimes it's not too noticeable, but certain people are feeling one type of way, and they're like, no, we need to focus, we need to do this for Daniel. And some of them are just like, no, we'll get there, just like chill. I do want to say it did take me a little bit to get into the show. This show is considered like a dramedy, so it has drama and has comedy. So there are definitely some serious points, but there are definitely the comedy aspect in there as well. It did take me a little bit to get into the show, and even the comedy for me to get into that as well. But once I did, I'm like, okay, this is pretty good. This is a pretty good show. So yeah, just want to let you know, for me, it took me a little bit to get into it, but once I did, it did get a little bit more enjoyable to watch the episodes moving forward. There are definitely a lot of things with Indigenous people and Native American culture within the show as well. I honestly knew nothing about Native American or their culture at all. So just to see this show and to see things that they're talking about, like seeing the comedy they're using and people they're using in the show was really cool, and something I've never seen in a TV show or movie before. So I really enjoyed that part of it, and just a little bit learning more, and they were able to take comedy and bring it into it as well. So how they plan on going to California, they're trying to just make money throughout the summer, and raise money just so that they can, you know, make their way over there. There is one point throughout the show where one of the friends is like, come on, let's use some of the money we raised. I want to get this gift for my dad. And the girl was like, no, this is the money for California. Like, no, we need to save it for California. We're not using it for anything else. And he's like, no, like, it's partly my money too. It's not just your money. And he wanted to use it to buy this gift for his dad, who's not really around. And he thought his dad would really like it. Turns out his dad never comes. It turns out his dad never shows up, which is a pattern. His dad always says he's coming but never shows up. And I feel like the one girl, the friend, knew this, and so she didn't like, why are we wasting our money on this gift? You know your dad's not gonna come. But the boy really believes his dad, really wants to see his dad, and believes that he's gonna come. So that's why he wants to get this gift. And I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back for her. She was just frustrated, you know, kind of with the group, and then just seeing this, that he's willing to use the money that all of them worked for to get out of this, get out of their home and go to a better place, which, you know, California in their eyes, and use it on something else is very frustrating, because they all had a plan and now they're deviating for that plan. So as I mentioned before, Daniel is continuously mentioned and named throughout the season. We get little glimpses and pieces of him throughout the season, but it's not until like the final episode that we really know what happens to him. So we see that they're all really good friends. We see that he's actually one of their brothers, and how his family dealt with his loss and everything. At the end, we see like kind of like a flashback part of the episode, and this is where we see Daniel, and you know that it's, at least while watching, you know, it's kind of be something somber, because you know this is like his last day, and you kind of see what happens leading up to his last moments. We see Daniel, we see all the friends together, and they're kind of all, you know, leaving for the night, but Daniel's acting kind of weird, and we don't really know him too much because we haven't seen him in the past or see him leading up to this moment. But as the audience, you can tell something's off, and I feel like some of the people around him, his closest people, knew something was a little off, but not to the extent of where it would go. You know, sometimes I feel like that's generally with everyone. You could see your friend like, hey, are you okay? Like, you know, their demeanor, their attitude's off this little bit, and you automatically, I think, okay, they're having a bad day, let me just check up on them. That's what I think, or like, something's up, let me just see something. So I can see how his friends or people close to him would be like, hey, are you okay? And he's just like, nah, I'm all right, it's okay, it's fine. Maybe just thinking he doesn't want to talk about it or deal with it right now, which is okay. Like, you know, deal with it. If you don't want to talk about it right now, that's okay. So we're seeing his last night, and as the night progresses, it's like he's kind of like, I don't want to say spiraling, but he's just doing things I guess he doesn't normally do. And the one girl's with him. She's like, are you okay? Like, yeah, it was just them hanging out. So they're hanging out, and I feel like we all know that something's wrong, something's happening. Obviously, something's not okay. And she stays with him as much as he can, but she's like, you know, we really gotta go. We really should leave and go home. And he's like, yeah, you're right. Okay. So they go their separate ways. And then the next morning, you know, she goes around looking for him. Like, she finds him, and he had taken his life. And that scene was very, very emotional. And just seeing, they don't really show too much of him at all, you know, but you do see what had happened to him. And when she sees it, and you just see her emotion, like that scene, first of all, kudos for her for the acting that scene, but it was just so heartbreaking and very emotional, and it was just so sad. And so I feel like that was one of the saddest parts as well. Like, you're the last person to see him, and you think he's fine, and then you come back and he's gone. And the girl that his friend that found him, I also think it did affect her a different way than them, because she did find him. And I feel like that's one reason she's like, we need to do this for Daniel. Daniel didn't get a chance to get out, so we need to do this for him. So I feel like that's one reason she's one of the people that's most pushing for them to get out and to go to California. So at the end of the show, 2 of the friends decide that they're going to stay and they're not going to go to California anymore, but they wish their friends well. And 2 of them are going to go to California. These are the same 2 that have having the most tension within the group. So he's like, okay, pick me up and then we'll get going. She decides not to go with him, not to pick him up to go to California, but she picks up one of the teenagers from their like rival group, and the girl makes an offer she can't resist, or she doesn't want to resist, and they decide to go on their own in California, not with her friends that she knows, but with one of their rivals, like that's been kind of bullying them. So just that ending kind of leaves me intrigued. It leaves you on a little cliffhanger and makes you want to know what's going to happen next. What's going to happen to this friendship of these 4 group of friends after she kind of ditched him? Does she end up making it to California with this girl? Like, what happens to them? So that is definitely an intriguing part for the next season. And it does keep you a little interested. So my rating after watching the first season of the show, I would give it 3 stars. I do think it is a good show. Like 3 stars for me, that is a good show. I just think for me, the comedy in it was not my type of comedy. Like, I didn't find it as extremely funny. There were definitely funny parts, but I just think it wasn't my type of show. I have seen other shows like this that people really do enjoy. And so for that reason, I think this is a show that a lot of people would enjoy watching. I just think I'm not that person. Like, it's not my cup of tea. But I honestly, for the life of me, I can't think of a show that has the same comedy style as this. Tell people, like, if you like this, then watch this show. But I know there are shows out there that have this comedy style that people really like, and I feel like it's just not for me. It's just not my type of style of comedy or show. What I do want to do is take some time to acknowledge what this show has done. So this show has a majority of Indigenous cast and crew. And honestly, that is amazing, and it's about time. Like I said before, I've never really watched a TV show with majority of the cast is Indigenous people, like, at all. I was trying to think, and I was definitely trying to do some research, and there are not really any shows out there like this. So kudos to them, and the fact that they're able to get people in front of the camera and behind the camera to create this show, to bring representation and create a story literally for their people, showing their culture. I think that's amazing. So I definitely think this show is in the right direction and paving the way for other shows to come in the future, and I'm so excited. If you like Google this show and just seeing what they have been able to do, literally amazing. And so I just want to give kudos and props to this show for what they have been doing. And I'm glad that because this show is unpopular. I think it got renewed for a 3rd season as I'm recording this. So like, people do enjoy the show. It is a good show and people really like it. So I do want to let you know that currently I believe season 2 is airing. So there is a season 2. I'm not sure if I'm going to watch season 2 or not. Like I said, I did enjoy the first season. I didn't love it, but I do think it's a good show. The style just wasn't my type of style for a TV show, but we'll see. Maybe I will give season 2 a watch. Maybe I won't. But season 1 did leave me wanting to know a little bit more, like where these characters are going to be at. Okay, so after all that, if you haven't watched the show and you're still interested, the show is on Hulu, and I believe new episodes come on FX as well. If you have seen this show, what did you think of it? Are you one of those people that really, really enjoyed it? And since I can't remember, if you can think of a show that has a similar comedy style to this one, please leave it in the comments so other people, if they've seen the show you're leaving in the comments, they know, okay, this show is like that and I should go check it out. Because I, for the life of me, cannot think of one, and it's probably because I don't watch shows like that because I don't enjoy that comedy style. But I know there are people out there that like things like that, and I feel like I don't like most comedies. I just like a certain type. So maybe I'm not the best judge of character. But hey, I did like the show. I think the show was good. So if you have enjoyed this video, feel free to follow me on all my socials. You can go on Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and as always, I'll leave a link to my blog for you guys to go check out. You can go check out the website. There's definitely more TV content on there for you guys to go see. And as always, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, week, month, and hopefully a good rest of your year. And until next time, bye.